Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mavis Elias, and I believe that you're new here given the fact that this is such a new platform. I'm just trying to create a corner on the internet where we can come chat about life, get to know each other, and also just share the most vulnerable parts of our lives, given the fact that I believe that it's in vulnerability that one can actually find both healing as well as a way forward. So nonetheless, today's video is going to be subdivided into three parts. The first is I'm going to tell you a story, and then the second is I'm going to share the quote for this particular video, and then we'll get straight into what the title at the bottom is about, and that's ultimately giving you 3 tools as to how to propel yourself into the life that you want. And I'll be sharing from my own personal experiences the things that I have done so as to be able to propel myself into the life that I have been creating, because I believe that life is a journey. There's no end destination. It's ultimately just making sure that you can journey along and do the best that you can at the space that you are while trying to cultivate a life that you want. So let's get straight into it. Story time, right? So for those who do follow me on Instagram and other social platforms, you might know this, but for the sake of just making sure that we're all on the same page, I'm a civil engineer by qualification, and approximately 2 years back, I decided to navigate out of the engineering space and go into development. I've been in the social development sphere for approximately 7 years, but never really as a full-blown career. More things that I did on a volunteer basis, as well as founding an organization called the EMLA Foundation. And then I found myself at a space as a civil engineer where I was not entirely passionate about my career. And I thought it best for me to be able to transition out of that space and go and do something I truly love. What this did is it actually had me feeling incredibly confused, had me feeling very much afraid because of the fact that my peers were propelling themselves into their career spaces. They were buying cars and they were just really like doing great in life. And here I was sort of feeling like I'm taking 7 steps backwards. And it came with a lot of uncertainty. And in that space of uncertainty, I did a thing. And I just started searching. I patiently went into the space of trying to ask myself some fundamental core questions of what am I passionate about? What do I really want to do? If engineering is not it, what then is? But I did that afraid. I did that in really like one of the most scariest seasons of my life, and allowed myself to be in a space where I didn't know. Literally, I didn't have the answers, and I was okay with that. And so I was watching a lot of YouTube content, and I came across this video by Lupita Nyong'o. And in the video, she was talking about how she came about admitting to herself that she wants to be an actor, which is obviously not a very traditional career route for somebody born on the African continent. And so she eventually went into it. And there's a part in the video that has stayed with me for a very long time. And she says, if you don't do what you love, you don't love what you do, and you don't know what to do. And I remember reading that and thinking to myself, oh wow, she's actually quite right, because a lot of the times we know exactly what it is we want to do, but rarely want to admit it to ourselves, simply because it's easier to stay in the more traditional route and the traditional sort of like sphere of career paths and trajectories. And I'm going to actually link the video down below in the description box, simply to give you an insight as to what exactly I'm talking about, because it really stayed with me. It stayed with me for so long, until this very day. Every time I find myself unable to decide which way is forward or where exactly I want to go, I tend to go back to that video, because it's become one of those life changing videos that I consistently watch. So if you would like to know what I'm talking about and actually want to watch it, please click the link down below in the description box. All right, so back to the 3 things we're going to be doing today. So that was story time, and the second is we're going to go into the quote for the day, and it reads that a jack of all trades, a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. What this means is that they often throw away the term a jack of all trades but master of none. But actually that's not where the statement ends. It further goes into, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Why I decided to share this is because when we find ourselves in that season of like being young and trying to find what we want to do with our lives, there's this pressure of wanting to get it right the first time. But it's okay to try things. It's okay to become a jack of all trades. It's okay to just seek and find yourself in a season of not knowing and trying to find the way forward, because it's in that you'll find what you truly want to do. So become a jack of all trades. Go and go try it all. Become a public speaker. Go and go start the business where you do a cleaning business, and then later realize, you know what, actually I want to go into the events business, and then go do that. Because I feel like life is such that it's a journey, and it's only when you allow yourself to truly journey alongside it that you find yourself able to find what you're truly passionate about. But when you sit on the sidelines constantly trying to just overthink it all, you do find that it takes a lot longer for you to get to what you're passionate about, because you're so worried that you're going to get it wrong, right? So try things, because you might just find that you'll become better than a master of one. Okay, so let's get straight into the video while we're actually here talking about how to propel yourself into the life that you want. There's 3 steps that I'm going to share with you. The first is you've got to plan. And when I talk about plan, I mean you have got to plan. Also bearing in mind that there's going to be contingencies. It's not that the plan that you write on paper will see itself out exactly the way that you have planned it initially. You might find that you've got all these elaborate plans and you end up being doing 50% of that, and that's okay. But the fact of the matter is, when you've got all these thoughts all up in your head, it can start to feel overwhelming, and it quickly starts to feel like you don't know what to do. Everything just feels like it's all over the place, because the mind works like that. So if you can put it on paper, it allows you to just reel in the different thoughts that you have, put it on paper, plan with what it is you have, so that you have a start point. Understanding that you might find yourself going forward and realizing that everything that you put on paper is actually not what you want, and that's okay. The fact of the matter is that the planning allows you to have a place to start, and then you've got to activate. Activating the plan goes beyond what you wrote down. It means that you can't just write and hope that it's going to miraculously come to fruition. You actually have to put in the work, which means that just start. It sounds so simple, and it probably actually is. This is the plan. These are the action plans. This is what I'm going to do. And you get started. You start with what you have. You start with the resources that you have, and you just do what you can with what you've got. And then there's a third step, which is making sure that you have got accountability matrices in place. Accountability is ultimately the most important thing that you can have. This is ensuring that you don't just have the plan, but you actually have ways to make sure that you're adhering to the plan, because it's easy sometimes to get started, but the consistency of showing up with the discipline is a bit of a problem for many of us, myself included. So you need these accountability matrices in place, which will inform you whether or not you're on track with your plan. So it could be that on a monthly basis, you check up with a friend who you've shared this plan with, and they ask you, so how far are you? What have you done this month? So that there's accountability in place. It could also be that maybe you've got these goals that are put out with time frames or time stamps, where you're like, in a month, this is what I should have done. In 2 months, this is what I should have done. But just make sure that you don't end up falling into that perfectionist thinking, where you basically plan to fail, where your plans are so elaborate that you actually cannot attain them simply because you've put them in an unrealistic time frame. I'm going to also link another video below that I've watched about perfectionist thinking, which is basically this thing where we plan, but the way that we plan automatically puts us in a position to fail, because the plans are not sort of put in biteable chunks. So we end up feeling overwhelmed and fall off the bandwagon because we want things to happen ASAP. Life is a journey, and this is something that I will consistently say in most of these videos, that you've got to journey along, and you've got to allow yourself to actually go to where it is you want to go consistently, meaning that you've got to start with what you've got, start with where you are, and then propel yourself into the life that you want. But you've got to plan, you've got to activate, and then you've got to have accountability matrices in place. Those are the 3 ways that I'm sharing with you in as far as how to propel yourself into the life that you want. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here on my channel today. Please remember to subscribe, press the like button, and ultimately just come back for more videos as time progresses. And also feel free to comment in the comment section telling me what you thought about this video, the places you'd like me to improve, the things you'd like me to talk about, and also maybe feedback what it is you have learned, and come back some other time and be like, you know what, I did that, I planned, I activated, and guess what, I had accountability matrices in place, and this is where I'm currently at. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.